guess we could just go right to Kathy. She's smiling today, so.
Okay. Well, I think I told you all before that our squatter bill was overturned by an appellate court um, because it violated a Missouri rule that you can't put a whole bunch of different things in the same piece of legislation. So it wasn't the squatter bill itself that got overturned per se. It's just because all these pieces of legislation were hooked together that it got overturned. The appealing legislation was the chickens in the HOAs. So, and I have like no opinion there, but our squatter bill was hooked onto that. Well, the good news about that is, well, first of all, they're appealing that to the Supreme Court, I think. So we might still get a different decision. But the other thing is that the lobbyist for the St. Louis Apartment Association and I have exchanged some emails, and they're going to try to reintroduce it this year and fix some of the things that weren't working well in the old one. We had some attorneys who and pro se plaintiffs who were um, not using the bill the way it was intended to be used. You may have seen the story in the paper about the two young men who were living in the family home, and the woman who was the trustee for the family trust sold it to speculators, and they immediately squattered them out. That's not under the squatter bill. That did not qualify for that, but somebody filed it anyway. So that wasn't good. I'm suggesting that we do away with the requirement that the property be vacant for 3 months prior to the person moving in, because I just think that's very difficult to enforce. And if you really have a situation where you have a squatter, they could squat after it's been vacant for a week. I mean, they could break in. They could break in the day it's vacant. So we're going to try to get that done away with, and we're going to also try to put in a brief preliminary hearing with notice before the sheriff can come out. It'll still be super fast and better than our other squatter remedies. So I'm liking that. I haven't seen anything else that's been pre-filed yet in the legislature, but they're always up to some crazy stuff down there in Jefferson City. And, you know, more or less unsupervised, home alone. Um, we will of course keep you updated of anything we know. And I don't really know of anything hot that's happening federal right now either. There probably is something, and I'm just not aware of it. My wish list would be curbing back some of the discrimination complaints that are filed, and even when they're filed it should be obvious that they're not proper. But the position that HUD takes now and um, Missouri is that they have to investigate them anyway. So I'd just like to see some pre-screening. I don't believe in discrimination in housing or in any other aspect, but I also don't believe in making property owners go through a huge amount of paperwork and investigation when it's a completely unsupported claim. Um, we know that we are keeping the judge we have in the city for another year. They appointed some new judges in the city and things got moved around, and we thought we were going to get the new judge that's coming on, but we're not. We're going to keep Judge Dauphine, and that is fine with me. We like being in there. And we are going to keep our judge in the county too. She had applied to be promoted, but she sadly was not picked because I like her. I wanted to support her, but I'm glad she's staying with us for probably another year. Hard to know when the next time we'll have openings. Next year, the judges will be on the ballot. The judges in St. Louis City and County, some other counties around the state, the appellate court and the Supreme Court. So closer to the time, I'm on that committee that reviews them. I'll let you know what our recommendations are, so that you can be informed voters about that. I think that's all the new stuff I have. The I checked again. Oh, I think I'm gonna sneeze. I checked again on that lawsuit in Texas to, excuse me, where the thing was stayed that you were gonna have to put all your personal information with the government if you had an LLC or a partnership or an Inc. And that's still stalled. We just don't see anything happening with that yet. I think Dave probably is more up to date on that than I am, but I think that's what the situation is now. I don't think that it'll go anywhere for a while. Does anybody have any questions, comments?
I guess I was about 30 seconds late. Can you hear me, Kathy?
Yes, Bruce, hi.
Oh, howdy, howdy, thank you. I think last month I was even later. The squatter thing, is it still where they've got like 10 days to kick them out? I think I was fortunate in the city where I found out there were some squatters in a property I had, and I had the police come and they said, "Oh, why don't you wait till you can get somebody to board it up the next day?" So I called them the next day, and they got him out and boarded it up. But it sounds like the 10-day thing would even be longer, and you'd have to go through a longer process. I don't know if that's what you were saying was
Well,
partly negated by
the
all that
squatter
other.
law, the
Yeah,
Missouri squatter law was overturned by an
right,
appellate court,
right,
not on its own merits, but because it was tagged together with a bunch of other laws that were passed.
right,
And there's a rule in Missouri that you can't do that.
right,
You could always could if you could get the police to put someone out, that's a remedy. I think the
right,
reason why that squatter law got passed was because too many police forces were saying, "Hey, we're not sure this person is giving us a lease. Maybe it's a forged lease." Everybody's
right.
arguing on the sidewalk. It's not fair to expect the police to determine that, right on the sidewalk. So that's why we got this squatter statute, and I think it's going to be resubmitted, and I'm working on that with the apartment association lobbyists to try to tweak the language a little bit. But if you got the police to put your squatter out, good for you. I
Right.
think that should always be tried.
Yeah, and it just seems like if the lawmakers knew that, then why did they pass a law that had something, it was more than one thing at a time?
I don't know. They're exciting down there in Jeff City with what they do. And
Okay.
um, what is that movie? The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, where you forget everything. That's what they have down there, I think. Every year they do the same stuff.
Yeah.
Um, okay, let's see what's going on in the chat here. Um, Good morning, good morning. Any recommendations for organizations who can help tenants with just 1 to 2 months of rent? Here's
Hello?
what we usually tell people. We tell them United Way 211, St. Patrick's Center, St. Vincent de Paul, Action St. Louis, Urban League, and I think there might be one other one. We never know at any moment who is going to help them. And then for domestic violence victims, Safe Connections has resources. We never know, for a while this summer, all the organizations were just tied up with tornado relief. And people were telling me, yeah, they'd say they're out of money. So they get funding, they run out of funding. But those are like the basic ones that I will tell people in court, if they want to try to get some help to try. Any recommendations on landlord tenant lawyers? Gee, I don't know.
Why don't you give put your contact information out there for us? Just
Okay,
mention it.
my number is 314-962-1115, and I just put it in the chat.
Hey,
Thank you.
hey, Kathy, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
It's not quite landlord type thing, but you guys have helped me on these services in the past. As you know, I'm a hard money lender. And so this is a strange one. I'm probably just bringing it up just for food for thought for everybody on here, right? We're a group of people that share and help each other. I have a loan on a house I made as a hard money lender. And short story is that the borrower is dead. Okay. And so I was making the electric payments on the house because I didn't want, to lose power. And so making these payments to the utility company here. And for some reason, they sent back a refund check for the payments that I sent in. But it's, of course, made out to the name of the borrower, but it's my money. Is there any way to
Wow.
get the electric company here in St. Louis, a city house, and to get the electric company to reissue a refund check back to me essentially? Have you ever heard of anything like that?
I haven't. My um, experience with the utility companies, if they have money, they keep it.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm wondering why they did that. And I'm wondering if it is the borrower had like automatic payments set up and those payments went in unbeknownst to you, and so it was doubly paid. Have you tried calling and asking them?
Yeah, we're gonna do that today. We wanted to kind of get a game face on before we did that, and kind of start with, hey, we want to make the payment on this, and then hey, we noticed we got one sent back. Why'd you send it back? We've been making the payment for over a year,
Yeah.
so that's just strange that suddenly this payment came
So
back.
are you going to foreclose on it?
Well, yeah, I will. Yeah, I will because they're dead.
Yeah. Well,
Kind of
so I
sad.
just wanted to tell you what the rule is on that. Um, you have to wait 6 months after date of death, but if they've been dead for over a year, you're fine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Anyway, it's a strange one. I'll let you know how it goes. I'll call them
Okay.
today, but I was going to kind of get a little bit of ammunition and see. I just never heard of them returning the money, and I know it's not being direct deposited because they don't have any money to send to the
Yeah.
utility company.
And you're certain that the house is vacant, no one else is living there.
Oh, wow. Good point. I haven't been there in a month. Yeah, I was at
Maybe you have a squatter.
Uh-oh.
Woohoo! Yay! No, wait, no, not yay.
Yeah.
Actually, I did go there with the police about 6 months ago because the city representative called me and said that the neighbors had said there was like somebody in the house or something to that effect. And so the police met me over there and they were going to haul them out for me and get them out. Mainly because the house has no wiring and no plumbing. It's a rehab house. There's not, you
Yeah.
wouldn't want to live there. And so they were going to haul them out, but nobody was there with it. But good point. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. And as we know, especially when the weather gets bad, some of the unhoused people they don't care if it has power or not. They just want to get inside and then they start fires and then your whole house burns down. That's what happened to
Right.
those warehouses downtown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big
Yeah.
concern when I had with the police and why I think they were going to just haul them
Right.
out because there's no lease agreement they're going to show for a house with literally no ducts, no piping, and no electric, type
Right.
thing. So,
Right.
okay, cool.
So
Okay, I appreciate that
good
feedback.
for
I'll
you
check into
on
that.
working with the police and persuading them to help you because I know that people are not always able to do that.
I'll tell you what, we say that about the city of St. Louis, and I don't know. I think sometimes we just give other organizations a bad rap sometimes.
Well,
I
I'm
think
not
if,
saying that the police are bad. I'm just saying sometimes I think it's impossible for them to determine who's legally in possession just out on the sidewalk. You know,
yeah,
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 it's probably easier when there's no utilities, but to determine
sure.
that someone shouldn't be living there and they're in there wrongfully. But we've had
Yeah,
situations where someone scams a potential tenant and says, I own the property, I'll lease it to you. And the poor person's in there and the police come and they're waving a lease around and everything. I mean, I get why the police are not comfortable with just tossing them on the curb at that point.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well,
Yeah.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay, guys. I am going to be on a cruise the first of the year, so I will see you in February. In the meantime,
Hello,
my
I have a
office is here.
question.
Okay.
Hello,
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
Um, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Um, I own a property in the city of St. Louis, and I got rent not from the tenant, but from an institution that was paying for the tenant. That institution reported that, and the city of St. Louis is considered that rental as income, and they want me to pay the 1% tax on it.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah,
I
so
thought that the 1% is only on earnings, not on rental income.
I believe that you're correct. Tax is not my forte. Do you have a good CPA?
Yes.
I would check with your CPA. I believe you're right, though.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So the rental income is not considered earned income.
I believe that's correct.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hmm.
Okay. Happy holidays, everybody.
question. Thank you, Kathy. Have a
Talk to
great
you in
cruise.
February.
Yeah,
If you
Merry
need anything in the
Christmas.
meantime, call the office.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Take
See you.
care.
Bye.